Welcome to the Johnny Dell Football Academy podcast on the channel that's trying to answer the whys and hows of the game by talking through and dissecting game film and diving deeper to explain why the X's zig and the O's zag. I am Adam Marino, joined by Mr. Johnny Dell, and we are reminding you, as always, the most fun way to watch is on YouTube, where we go live. There you can comment into the live show. Be sure to hit the notification bell and turn on your notifications so you can be a part of the conversation. We also stream live on Facebook and X. Also, the audio versions are always found on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Now, if you are live with us in the chat, it's probably because you are subscribed, you've hit the notification bell, and turned those notifications on. So, when sharing with your friends, be sure to let them know. We also love to hear from you outside of our live show. Email us at johnnydellsfootballacademy@gmail.com, and you can always check out the website jfa49.com, as it is the most fun way to support the channel. Also, the way we boost the chat and boost the algorithm is to type out hashtag JD49. Yes, today is July 12th. It's a Friday, and you may think mid-July, not much going on. You are incorrect, because Dr. Steve Brule is our golden egg winner. And
the fried egg winner. He always says golden egg. It's fried egg winner.
I was going to say golden egg.
The fried egg winner.
You know, first one of the day. It's right there. Fried egg.
Right? Fried egg. So, of course, Dr. Steve, forgive me. And it's mid-July. You may think nothing's going on. Reason number two why you're wrong is because we have Andre in here. What is up? We are excited to talk all things Niners. Thank you those that are boosting the chat already. Dan, Shotgun, Marcos, of course, the lovely Dondell, who is even at the dentist.
She's
right
even
now.
checking in from the dentist. I mean,
checking in on
dentist.
That's
her beautiful teeth.
From the dentist,
so,
exactly.
And there's our good buddy. What is
raise the people for the win?
Yes. Who are we? We're gonna link up for the game for sure. What's up, man? So, Andre, tell us. First of all, I'll be asking you throughout the show, but give us the details first of all on where people can find you.
Just go to nicotina.net. That'll take you to the Nicotina network of shows. I have 3 different channels. I have obviously the Nicotina Show, which covers pop culture and movie news. Dre Area Sports, which covers all Bay Area news: Niners, Giants, Warriors. And then I also have Beyond the Unknown, which covers paranormal, UFOs, Bigfoot, all that stuff. So just go to that website. That's where that's where all my channels are located. And there's communities for all 3 channels. So if you want to join the community, be able to interact with me and the other guys that are on there, that's where you go for everything. Or you can go to my channel on YouTube and just subscribe, and it'll be great.
Yeah, very cool. So Johnny threw that in the chat, so you can see there, nicotina.net. Definitely excited to talk maybe a little Wolverine and Deadpool action with you a little bit.
Oh, that's coming up, dude. That's coming up.
Yeah, let's get into some Niners. One thing I want to ask you right off the bat. Me and Johnny were talking before the show. We have some questions we want to ask you, but I curiously just want to start off by asking you one question first. Just your take on little deal, big deal, or no deal with the Brandon Ayuk situation.
I think it's a big deal to Brandon Ayuk. I think that he's doing everything he can to make as big of a scene about getting a new contract. But then again, that's kind of how the game is played, in terms of like unfollowing everyone on Instagram and, doing certain things. And
the stuff with the Commanders, talking to
Jaden Daniels and saying like, hey, they said they didn't want me, when in reality it was probably more like, we don't want you at that price. He's like, oh, they said they didn't want me. And look, I would say for the Niners, I know a lot of people are kind of blowing this up into something that's like, oh, okay, so they don't want him back, or they're being mean, or look, here's the deal. This is a run-heavy offense, and yet you want to be paid as if we are a pass-heavy offense. Now, is he an elite receiver? Yes, I do believe he is an elite receiver. Is he one of the top 2 or 3 receivers? I would say no, maybe 4 or 5, but he's still one of the upper echelon of receivers. But the Niners are saying, hey, look, we gave you a price. This is what we want to pay you at. They're not going to budge from that because, I mean, honestly, they have the 5th-year option where they can franchise him and he's going to play again. Now, he could say, well, I'm going to hold out. Well, eventually that's going to start costing him a lot of money. And so they know that. And so instead of panicking, saying, hey, look, let's just get it done. This is causing a lot of stress around from all the, talking heads. No, the Niners are saying, hey, look, this is our price. And they've probably given him maybe a couple of different options. Who knows? And they don't really want to move from that. It'd be one thing if, like, let's say the Niners traded Ayuk earlier in the offseason and they got someone like Justin Jefferson, and he's like, I want a fat-ass contract. You kind of have to pay Justin Jefferson that contract because he is the elite of elite when it comes to receivers. I mean, I think the biggest thing is this. Did Ayuk have a phenomenal year last year? Absolutely. However, in the Super Bowl, he completely disappeared because L'Jarius Sneed basically shut him down. And we saw him I think he got 3 catches, but that's not a lot. And he probably should have had the game-winning touchdown if we know what we're talking about.
He did okey doke there.
Yeah, so. But I think the Niners are doing the right thing. I don't see it as a big deal, not for me. I think others will see it as a big deal because it's more content and something to talk about. But I would say overall, I don't think it's a big deal because he's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere this year. He's not going anywhere next year. I don't see them trading him unless you're going to get something of huge value in return. I don't think trading him and getting a safety, which is the area that we need to kind of bolster up. I don't think that's like an even trade, And then, because you got what's his name, Pierre Saul, and he looks great so far. But we haven't seen him, in the National Football League. We haven't seen him even in a preseason game. So you can't put all your ducks in, put all your eggs in one basket or a golden egg, as you would say, in one basket and say, let's just go with him. We got this. No, that's just stupid.
Yeah. So I got a question I want to follow up on this with, and I was we did a show Monday. And I got some pushback from the community, which is fantastic. I love pushback. I love, a spirited discussion. I have a big concern right now with the way that Ayuk is conducting himself, in the sense that he just posted on TikTok early, about a week ago, of a screen grab of him watching Commanders' practice film from with Jaden Daniels there. I have a serious concern about that. Of one, you have a player currently under contract with one team watching the practice of another team.
That's
that
weird.
to me, well, even beyond the weird side, if I'm the Commanders, if I'm Dan Quinn, I am furious about that. I would be so pissed off that there's a player on a team that we potentially could meet in the playoffs who is watching our practice film, watching our offense install. I have a serious problem with that. So I got some pushback. People say it's not that big of a deal. I wonder, is Ayuk putting the team at risk? I mean, because I just don't know how the league would feel about this. If Dan Quinn were to file a complaint against the league of a player from another team watching his practice, would there be something there? I mean, Bill Belichick with the Patriots, they lost draft picks for filming a practice of the Rams. So, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like that's a legitimate concern, or am I just kind of, being a little neurotic over here?
I think that it's something that he may be watching the portion of the practice that the media has access to. And so if that's the case, then it's not that big of a deal, because I don't think he'd be that dumb to watch a practice like that, and it'd be like, something that's private that could be looked at as tampering, or even put the Commanders in a bad spot. So I think that he's
that's
doing
part
it.
of the thing is it's coach's film. It was from the end zone angle looking down.
See, that's weird. That's weird.
Yeah, because NFL teams and colleges, they film all their practices just the same way that I have all 22 of games. All the teams film every single practice. This was a something that went back to Bill Walsh was doing that. He was filming all the practices and then going over those with the players. And that's what Brandon Ake was looking at, was the coaches film that players and coaches go over after their practice sessions. And this was from one of the mini camp or OTAs, which is offensive install. And that's where I wonder, and Dan makes an interesting point here. He says, and is there a chance that Ayuk is sharing film with Jaden Daniels, that he's sharing some of his clips with them? It does seem a little unlikely that it's only one-sided. If somebody's sending, it most likely would be Jaden Daniels would be sending it over. Is this really happening? And I mean, I can't imagine that coaches would just be okay with this.
No, I don't think they would be at all. I mean, but if he's doing it, I mean, I don't know, Johnny. Maybe you got to put in a call and say, "Hey, I don't think you guys noticed this or not, but that's the coach's camera." Because no one's even brought that up. No one seems to be like making that into a big deal. You would think that like, the media would jump all over that. Like, oh, look what he's doing. You know what I mean? Because that's a story right there. But I haven't heard anything about it. So maybe he's doing it the right way. I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe I'm just being a little neurotic. I just look at it as as just it's an issue. And I'm gonna find a clip here. So I'll turn it back to Adam while I search on something.
Okay, yeah, Johnny's in his bag. Here we go. The whys and hows of the game, of course. So, Andre, tell us a little bit. I have a couple questions to ask you about the 49ers, but I'm interested a little bit in you. Tell us a little bit how you got started in your story a little bit.
Well, I've always wanted to be in radio, and then over time, I started doing my YouTube channel, which is called now it's called Nicotina Network. It used to be just called the Nicotina Show. That was a nickname I had in high school. I just went with that. And we cover comic books and movie reviews and movie Hollywood news, production news, all that stuff like that. And so I did that for a long time. I had a lot of friends who were doing it as well. It's funny because initially it was either going to be that or it was going to be sports. And I was like, what am I going to do? But I had more friends doing the other genre than I had sports. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to do that. But then over time, I was like, hey, look, I really want to cover sports. People were telling me I should cover sports. And so that's what I started doing this past season. Unfortunately, I didn't get the actual show up and running until the playoffs, which actually worked out pretty good. It was more exciting. But so at this point, I have 3 channels, like I said earlier. But with the Niner, training camp around the corner, I'm about to start ramping up production on this channel. So we're going to have way more streams, way more content coming out on this channel, especially as the Niner season kind of ramps up. When you cover Giants, it doesn't really do much. It's like an everyday sport. Everyone's just like, bleh. So, but yeah, I'll be covering the Niners.
And they're not that good.
And they're not that good. Yeah.
That's one thing.
And on top of that, like with the Warriors, I was like, oh, cool. They'll be in the playoffs. And they got knocked out immediately. I was like, oh my God, I'm down to one team. What the hell?
Yeah.
But no, I've been a lifelong Niner fan since as far back as I can remember.
Where are you from, dude?
I'm from, I was born in San Francisco, and now I live in Northern California. So for me, it's always been about the Niners. That was the first team that I fell in love with before the Niners. I mean, before the Warriors or Giants. It was the Niners because my dad watched it, my brother watched it, everybody watched it.
Yeah. And they were so good back then.
Well, they were good back then, but then as I got older and got really into the game, that's when they were really bad. So it's
with
like
Tim Rattay and
Tim Dennis Erickson, Jordan Miller, all those guys. And so, it's watching them, same with the Warriors too, and then even with the Giants. Like, watching your team be good and then be really bad, and then be good again and then be really bad. And that's how every team is. Although I feel like this ownership and this front office has done a better job at maintaining the players that are on this team. I mean, if you look at it, we just like other than the Brandon Ayuk situation, we have all these players for another few more years. So they've actually extended the life of this team. Obviously, they have to re-sign Brock Purdy. But I mean, that's if Brock Purdy takes a massive contract. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if Brock Purdy took a contract that worked better for the team. He's such a selfless guy.
He
You know what I mean?
seems like that dude, don't he?
I mean, if you took a deal like what Ohtani did, oh my God, like, oh yeah, just pay me 10 years from now.
Yeah.
Like, let's do it. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, they're probably still they're still paying players now, or they're still paying
Bobby Bonilla
coaches now.
Bobby Bonilla.
No,
we just celebrated Bobby Bonilla Day, July 1st.
Yeah.
Happy Bobby Bonilla Day.
I think the Niners are still paying fucking Jim Tomsula and Chip Kelly and all those guys just to stay away.
Yeah.
So you never know, man. You never know.
Yeah. So you said a key thing about the 49ers front office and how it's kind of been a change in the tide, that overall positive. As we look at the team this year, when you look at the team right now based on the end of the season, do you feel worse about the team going from the end of last year, or do you feel better, or are you steady Eddie?
I feel like we got better. I think getting Pearsall is a huge upgrade over who was our third receiver last year, Ray McLeod, or Ronnie Bell. I mean, this is a guy that's shifty. Like, we needed a slot receiver like him. It's what we didn't have in Ayuk and in Deebo Samuel. So now you have a 3 receiver sets that you can come out with, where you have more options for Brock Purdy as he rolls out to find that open receiver. So I think that's a huge upgrade. I think the guys they brought in the offseason, in free agency, how they went and traded for these guys, I think they did a great job. They bolstered their defensive line. They made it deeper as well. We saw last year, I mean, once you got past the starters, it was kind of shallow. Kalia Davis didn't really do much. Cleveland Farrell had a good year, and then he blew his ACL in the last game of the year, which was like, oh my God, really?
Yeah.
But overall though, the line hasn't been that deep. The last time the defensive line was deep was when we had was back in when we went to the Super Bowl in 2019. They had a deeper line then, but as the season went on, they kind of lost a lot of their depth. And then by the time they got to the Super Bowl, it was basically just the starters and Solomon Thomas coming off the bench, which is not a bad option off the bench, but he's supposed to be your number 3 pick, so you'd hope that he'd be the starter. But yeah, that didn't work out.
Right.
But I think they're better than they were last year. I think guys like Isaac Yiadom are going to really help out in terms of that corner position. I don't think Ambry Thomas is the answer, but you got Charvarius Ward, you got Diamador Lenore. Now it's a matter of who do you put at that other cornerback position, and they have a lot of options too. I mean, they still even have Darrell Luter. I mean, we got to see what he can do. And now is the time. In training camp is when you make a name for yourself, because by the time you get to preseason, I mean, they've already almost determined who's going to start and who's on the chopping block, So this is your chance to really do that. And I think the Niners gave themselves a lot of options. Now, I think, defensively, are they a little weaker? I think in some areas, yeah, because, I mean, you don't have Dre Greenlaw. You got Lavondre Campbell. And people were saying, oh, they should go out and get Quan Alexander, which I think that'd be cool. But then what happens when Greenlaw comes back? Like where do these guys go? Like, all right, Quan, you're going to go to the practice squad. He's going to be, no, fuck that. Cut me, So, I mean, I think for fans, it's easy to say, oh, just go get the guy. That way you have more depth. But then you got to think about it on their end. They're like, well, what, you want me to sign this guy and tell him, hey, when Greenlaw comes back, we'll figure out where you're going to go. Like, I don't want to do that, Well, I mean, even like Al Shire, I was like, man, that's the guy they got to go after. But I'm sure what they told him, like, hey, when Dre comes back, he's going to take that starting spot. And he's like, that's cool. Yeah, no thanks. Yeah, because he's just on a fat contract just to be the third linebacker. So I don't know, man. But I think they've upgraded a lot of areas. And not to mention, look, for the most part, they brought back the same offensive line, which I was hoping they're going to upgrade. But, I mean, it got them to the Super Bowl, so they can't be really that bad, I guess. But you got, you still got Brock Purdy. You got Deebo, Ayuk. Now you have Ricky Pearsall slotted in there. Of course, we got McCaffrey. I mean, the team is loaded still.
You haven't even said Kittle.
Yeah, Kittle, Kyle Juszczyk. It's just they're still a monster team,
Yeah.
and so I think that when it comes to fans these days, I mean, well, when you look at the team, is that we all want the team to win a Super Bowl. I mean, that's the goal, is to win the Super Bowl, and so you look at any kind of small deficiency and you highlight that and say, hey, that's a problem. How are we going to fix that problem? But we'll see how the season kind of plays itself out.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited. Reminder, guys, you mentioned preseason. Reminder that I will be August 10th. I will be at Nashville to see our first preseason game. So if you are in the Nashville area and going to be at the game, make sure you email us. And then a reminder, I will be week 1 against the Jets on Monday Night Football, September 9th. I will be there. So a couple of you guys have said in the chat, hey, that you're going, make sure that we link up. Got to get some content. I'm going to bring microphone, portable mic, and let's get some content. Let's hang out. I'll buy you a shot, like whatever you want. So
Oh, damn.
make sure you guys let me know if you're going to those games. I know Johnny's jealous. That's why I try and bring it up every week now as much as I can.
Are you in California?
So no. So most of the chat knows I am in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So the only positive thing I can say about the city that I live in, I haven't said this a lot, is that I am less than 3 hours from the following cities: Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Indianapolis.
Oh, wow.
So I can get there in 3 hours, all of those cities. So I can see the Warriors, Giants, and Niners in half of those cities very easily, and have. So that is the claim to fame. But notice I didn't say anything about Fort Wayne.
I'm sure it's beautiful this
for a
time of the
reason.
year.
I will say I personally know Jesse Bates, the safety that was with Cincinnati, who's now with the Atlanta Falcons. He went to the school that I coached basketball at, Snyder High School in good old Fort Wayne, Indiana. So that's pretty cool, to personally know a guy like that who's done really well. He's not just a guy, like he's a stud. So shout out to Jesse Bates from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Very cool. So Johnny, what are you working on, dude?
Okay, so I finally found something on here. I couldn't find it. I was working on, again, showing some examples of this. So going back to why I am concerned about what Brandon Ayuk is sharing over here. So just give me 1 second here, because so I have from somebody it's the same footage that I believe this guy put on his YouTube channel, and I think he got it from the same person I did. But this is, what some of this stuff looks like. Here's a practice footage. This is Nick Saban installs when he was with the Dolphins. Okay, so you can see here, this is 7-on-7. They're teaching how to match certain zones.
What bad throw.
And so this is what 7-on-7 is about, how receivers will recognize coverages. And here they're working on some cover 7 installs of how to do stuff. So this is what practice film looks like. This is what teams do. They film their practices just like this so that they can then go over everything. This looks just like the coach's film of what they're doing, to then go back into the meeting rooms and teach these very complex. So this shot right here is the same angle that Ayuk was sharing. So this isn't like a media session. This isn't an open practice. He's seeing a cut up of these plays just like this, where it's all 22, then end zone angle. And they do this with all their drills. They do this with everything. This is what a lot of the position coaches work on during training camp, during OTAs, during mini camps, during the season, is that they take this footage, and that's what they go over in their position group meetings all the time. Javon Hargrave talked about that. They sit there and watch film and watch film and watch film over and over and over again. So that is leaked Dolphins footage from 2006. So this is 18 years ago that started to kind of hit. I have seen very, very little NFL team practice footage ever hit the market. I remember a few years ago, it really caused a stir when somebody was sharing practice clips of Trey Lance in 2021, and it was like super grainy. Obviously, somebody was sitting there with their cell phone recording a computer screen with these images. So what Brandon Ayuk is sharing is that he's watching the coach's tape of the Commanders practice. That seems like a huge violation of league integrity to me.
Yeah.
When you have a player actively under contract, what's to stop him from during the season walking down the hall and sitting in the meeting room with Nick Sorensen and telling him or sharing what he has of their practice footage? What's stopping that? I think it's I think it's a bigger deal than anybody's making out to be. Some people told me I should chill on it. It's not that big of a deal, but I just worry, could the 49ers be docked a draft pick for this? I really wonder.
But is it the Niners or is it really the Commanders? I mean, they're allowing him to watch that footage,
right?
And so how, to me, this is more on them than it is Brandon Ayuk.
Like who shared it to him? Yeah,
exactly.
Who shared it? Which is your number one franchise quarterback that you just drafted is what we're thinking, because what some people may not remember is that those dudes both went to Arizona State, and so they have a history, and so it's one buddy sharing with another buddy. I don't think Ayuk went and said, "Hey, dude, will you send me some stuff because I'm about to repost this right quick." I don't think that's how it went down. So if your quarterback who you drafted, who you're throwing all of your eggs at, your golden eggs, then these callbacks are solid. I will say that's a shout out to me, brothers. Like that's pretty good out of me. So you got to pat your back sometimes when you don't get enough from the chat.
Well, and I guess part of me,
you know what I'm saying?
says how foolish is that of Brandon Ayuk to post that on TikTok? Then, like, if that's going to get your buddy in trouble, I mean, that if you're doing this so that you can sort of poke the bear to get more money, I don't know. Like that is why it leaves me with a sour taste or red flag to me in one sense of like, this just does not seem wise. Even if you're getting this footage, even if you're watching it, why are you sharing with anybody that you're watching it?
Do you have a screenshot of it, of when he shared it?
Yeah, it was on TikTok not too long ago. I have it here. Just one sec. Let me pull it up. Because it was, for me, it was more troubling. I think I was more troubled than most people are about it, but I got to find it real quick.
But this could be a big deal. I mean, on top of that, like this is a little cynical, but like the Niners can use this as a way of saying, "Look, dude, like you just screwed up. Like let's get you signed, and it's gonna hurt his value if he's out here. You're looking at other teams' practice footage. Like, wait, what are you doing? Is that even like allowed? But like, did Dan Quinn even say, "Yeah, go ahead and share it with them"? Probably not.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, so here it is. Here's the picture he shared on TikTok. You can obviously see that is Jaden Daniels. This is Commanders practice. Up the top of this picture, it says up here somewhere on it. I remember it says 8 plays. Yeah, so he's getting a package, 8-play package that he's being sent.
That's
or that
nuts.
He's watching. This is practice film. I mean, that's what this is.
Jaden Daniels is probably saying, "Hey, look, watch this package, and then just imagine instead of so and so, it's you." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just crazy.
Which in and of itself, if they're having a phone conversation, like, dude, you should see these plays, and imagine if we had you on one side and so, like, whatever, they have some decent receivers there already as well. So, like, I could understand a phone conversation, but then to send that package of 8 plays and to the point where, it gets re-shared for all of us to see is just highly inappropriate on the Commanders' part for any one of their organization to do
there's
that.
a date on here. This is from June 11th. That's what this says.
When did he post
exactly
this,
a month ago?
This was about a week ago.
About a week ago, yep. Yeah, because Monday it was a hot topic. just this past Monday.
And this whole thing with him and Jaden Daniels and people saying, "Oh, maybe they'll trade him to Washington. Maybe they'll trade him to the Steelers." Look, at the end of the day, Brandon Ayuk isn't going anywhere. He can play all these games that he wants, but he's not going anywhere. So, like, to me, he needs to cut the shit and just focus on what he has to do for the year. But the fact that Jaden Daniels is literally like sending him this footage, this is not good. This is highly illegal.
That's what I'm saying.
It's like
That's
tampering.
what I'm saying.
It's tampering.
That's what I'm saying.
Because, like, even if both organizations had no play in this, right? It's still a bit of tampering because it's Jaden Daniels saying, "Hey, look, here's some of our plays, man. I can fit you in right there. You'd be great." You can't do that. And now, look, do players do this all the time? I'm sure they do, but they don't post it on social media.
Right.
That's what I'm
Like,
saying.
yo, what up?
So Dan,
give me a contract.
In the chat, Dan K says it makes me wonder if they've been sharing films so often that it didn't even dawn on him, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't post it. Like they maybe like you're saying, it is kind of running rampant, and you don't think about it. I mean, I wonder how many other teams are doing this. I mean, you have friends all over the NFL. You know, I don't know, but it's just bad look for sure.
But to do this,
That's the thing. Yeah, like to not say, hey, maybe I shouldn't show the world.
Yeah, that's
a
what
peek behind the curtain that of the Wizard of Oz. Like, it's kind of that unspoken thing that you may share some of this stuff, but you don't go and post it on social media for the world to see, to be like, hey guys, we're doing this. This would be kind of like, in my opinion, the equipment manager for the Patriots saying, posting a picture of him with the ball inflator, with that and his football. I mean, that's what it'd kind of be like. It'd be like, hey guys, just prepping for the game, wink, wink. Like that's what it would be. That stupid to me. Like
Spygate.
Just Spygate. There we go.
That's what I'm saying. That the Patriots were docked a draft pick,
what's
high draft pick,
us? Yeah, dude.
Or having been proven to have filmed the walkthroughs. Now, again, that's game plan. I get that it's different, but the fact that they had another team's practice footage at all would be a problem for any NFL team. Again, as just putting myself in the headspace of Dan Quinn, I would be extremely unhappy, extremely uncomfortable with a player on another team under contract with another team that actually beat the pants off of us last year.
Yeah.
Having anything from our practice.
Yeah.
I would just not feel comfortable with that. Because there are things they're going to install here that they may not use until December, until January.
Yeah.
Again, it really gives me a bad feeling, and it makes me wonder about the maturity of Brandon Ayuk.
Exactly.
It really does.
It's like, that's what I would say if I was the Niners. Like, hey man, what are you doing? This shows a lack of maturity. It shows a lack of leadership. I'm so mad. I spilled my coffee on my shirt, but it's like, dude, it's like, pull your head out of your ass. Like, why would you post that? It's unbelievable. And yes, I think that this absolutely, without a doubt, says that his maturity level is low. The way he's been acting is very immature. It's just like, oh my God, really? Having, his wife on there, his kid, his brother, they're all like, saying shit on camera. Look, I get you on a new contract. I get it. If you don't get one from the Niners, you're going to get one from somebody else. So it's like that money's still coming.
But you really just limited your options.
Yeah, now it's like, so if we sign you,
yeah.
are you going to start sharing video with fucking Jaden Daniels? What are you doing?
If imagine you're the New York Giants, like we talk about, it's sometimes good not to be a Giants fan, but you're the New York Giants and you're looking for one of the top receivers in the league. Are you going to send draft capital over to get a guy who's
playing games like this? No.
Who might send your practice film to the Washington Commanders? Are you going to do that? No. You're going to say, dude, no, we ain't playing
we don't
this
want
game.
that. He's hurting himself.
If they sat there if he were to play on a fifth-year option, go into free agency, and it comes time for negotiation, I can guarantee you the New York Jets would sit him down and say, or New York Giants would say, hey, we really like you. We want to pay you $34 million a year. What's the deal with this? let us know exactly. You better know. Let us know exactly how much has been shared. And we need to have this conversation. I mean, they would if I was the GM of the Giants, that would be the first thing I want answered.
Yeah,
is I would say, tell me how you got this footage and exactly how much you sent to somebody else, and don't BS me, because if you aren't honest, I am not offering you a contract.
Well, yeah, it's a complete breach of confidentiality when it comes to your organization that you are contracted to play with. Look, Jaden Daniels as well needs to be more mature and realize, hey, you can't be sharing practice footage with another player. Now, I know everyone in the chat saying, well, it was just a couple of plays, whatever, but we don't know that. We don't know how many plays they've been sharing. We don't know how many videos they've shared. Is that the only video?
It's at least 8, though.
At least 8 plays. But how many times have they done this over the course of the offseason? How many videos has Brandon Ayuk shared with Jaden Daniels? Like, hey, look, I got a similar play. Check this out.
well,
Dan,
that
looks similar.
Dan, I got to respond to this. Dan, that is why he has a quarterback coach. That's why he has an offensive coordinator.
He doesn't.
That's
need
why
Brandon
he does.
Ayuk.
How do I read the defense? Help me.
Yeah.
Go ask Scary Terry. He's on your team. Go ask Terry McLaurin.
He's like, can you share this with Kyle Shanahan and see what he says?
So Collie, I love it. Collie's coming back and he's pushing back on us again. I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. Belichick was spying on teams. It's not like BA was spying on Washington.
This is totally different.
Was given to him.
We're not talking about that.
While I understand that, I just wonder, if I'm the league, if Dan Quinn files a complaint, does the league just say, no, it's not a big deal? Or do they investigate the 49ers for something? Remember, the 49ers were docked, a 5th-round pick because of an accounting error last year?
Yeah,
because of an accounting error.
Forgot about that.
It wasn't even like a big problem. It was literally just an accounting error of like, what?
A true mistake.
$1,000
and a true mistake
over how an incentive was counted as a likely to be paid or not likely to be paid, and it was adjusted after the season, and they were docked a 5th-round pick for an accounting error. Are we talking 3rd, 4th? How does this compare to that? That's what I'm wondering. That yes, Belichick, I felt like the Patriots were actually not hit hard enough for what they did with Spygate. They were docked two draft picks. What was the second? 2 second-round picks, and then like $500,000 between Belichick and Kraft. And so, I just go, if the 49ers are going to get hammered for a 5th-round pick for an accounting error, what's going to happen here? There's an investigation, and the Falcons are in trouble right now over reports of tampering with Kirk Cousins over just simply making travel arrangements during free agency. Mm-hmm. This is a player under contract. Again, is this tampering allegations with the Commanders? Like, this whole thing just stinks of, this is not how you do business. That's my biggest issue. And the fact that that you can't see how the business side of this, that I said this last week, I think, that the NFL is a business that plays a game, not a game that plays a business. So they are a business first and foremost. That is what this is all about. And it seems like Brandon Ayuk cannot understand that this is a business. Mm-hmm. You conduct yourself in a business-like manner, and that is how you will get rewarded the best. This feels like a guy who's used to playing a game and wants to be rewarded for playing a game. That's not how this works. Yeah, and he's not conducting himself in a business-like manner. That's what's frustrating me. That's what gives me a red flag and makes me say, you know what? I don't want to commit $30 million a year to you.
That's a lot.
That's what it is.
It's a lot of fucking money, $30 million, and then you're gonna have to pay Brock Purdy as well. I mean, look, Fred Warner and George Kittle, they can only take so many pay cuts. You know what I mean? They're gonna be like, hey, can you take a little bit more because Ayuk wants a fat ass contract, and on a team that is a primarily running team. And you already have Deebo Samuel. And look, I know what everybody says about Deebo Samuel, but I don't give a fuck. I don't know if I can swear on your show or not, but I just did. Is that I personally believe that Deebo Samuel brings more to this offense than Brandon Ayuk. I think Brandon Ayuk is an elite receiver and he's really good. But when Deebo Samuel is out on that field, a lot of eyes are on him and Christian McCaffrey. And I think having those two guys on the field is what opens up lanes for Brandon Ayuk, because they have to do him single coverage while they're going to try to double team and keep more eyes on Debo and on Christian McCaffrey because they can do so many different things. And so, to me, the games where Debo was on the field, he was a bigger presence on the field than Brandon Ayuk was. When Debo was out, Brandon Ayuk wasn't really getting open all that much against the Browns. He had some catches, but he seemed to have a harder time getting open. And so that's something I noticed that it feels like when he has Debo out there with him, his game excels because it takes the pressure off of him. But at the end of the day, look, just like I said earlier, he's going to get a contract, maybe from the Niners, maybe from a different team. He's going to get that. So for him to do all this stupid shit doesn't matter because, dude, you're going to get paid regardless unless you have some kind of catastrophic injury that's going to affect that. Even then, a team will still sign you because they're like, oh, when he gets healthy, he's going to be really good. So I just don't get all this back and forth banter. He's really trying to amp up how much shit he puts on social media to try to plead his case for a contract. I'm really tired of it. And at this point now, it's like everyone wants to make a big deal about everything that he does. I just try to ignore it. But this right here, showing practice footage from the Commanders, it's like, what the hell is going on? And like you said, this could also be tampering on the Commanders' behalf. Imagine if they were okay with this. Obviously, they would never say they're okay with it, but imagine if they were kind of okay with it. Yeah, go ahead and share with them because maybe he'll want to come here now. I mean, that's just terrible. That's terrible business. Like, why would you do that? It's not. Yeah, it's not good.
He's hurting himself. So okay, I really don't have a slick way, a slicky Ricky Pearsall way to segue in, but I want to shift gears because we can't just talk for 42 minutes on Brandon Ayuk. I feel like I wanted to ask you, speaking of Slick Rick, is he the rookie that you're really looking forward to the most, or is there someone else that you're looking forward to as training camp's getting ready to go? And you can find me at the first preseason game, of course. What rookie are you looking at, man?
Ricky Pearsall. They took him in the first round, and that was a pick that nobody saw coming. Not even Johnny Dale saw that one coming. He was like, "Wait,
I know we were all a little freaking out a little bit."
I didn't even do much homework. So I was on vacation and like we were in the Eastern time zone and it was midnight.
Oh, right.
I was in the hotel, like my kids are gone to bed. My wife's sitting there like, can we turn the TV off? It was midnight there and the 49ers had still not picked. It was like the 23rd pick and it had taken 3 hours to get to this point. And I'm like, yeah, it's going to be like another hour and a half before the 49ers pick. I had to turn it off, woke up the next morning and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Ricky Pearsall? I didn't even do any work on Pearsall because I didn't think he would going to get picked by the 49ers. Yeah. I had to immediately start looking to who this guy was because I was familiar with the name, but didn't really know anything about him because I was locked into offensive tackles, defensive ends, possibly corners that they would go first round. I did not see a receiver. And I figured I thought Pearsall, kind of looking over everything and why I dismissed him so early was I thought he was going to be kind of like a high mid second round pick. I really did. And as far as a receiver, I just didn't see the 49ers investing that in a guy that everyone was valuing about 15 slots back at receiver when they have two guys. Mm-hmm. So, it's very surprising. Yeah, and they brought back Juwan Jennings, so it's really fascinating to me what's going to happen with Pearsall here. And it really throws a wrench in this whole Ayuk situation. But like I said, how much of an impact do you see him having getting on the field? Do you see him like how many snaps would you expect from him in an average game?
I don't know about the exact snap number, but I would imagine that if he's as good as they're advertising, he's going to be out there a lot. I think that he's going to get more plays than Juwan Jennings. I think Juwan Jennings gets a lot of third down. He'll have different packages for Juwan Jennings, but I think that the one thing that he gives you that Jennings can't is that he gives you that shifty and that speed. Because Juwan Jennings is not a fast receiver. Even when he gets out in the open, he kind of runs like a clunky gazelle. You know, he's like ah. But he gets
Pearsall's
open.
the gazelle and Jennings is the giraffe. And if you see giraffes run, they look a little awkward.
Yeah, exactly.
It's long
And so, does he get? I mean, is he clutch? Jennings, absolutely. And in all likelihood, he was going to win Super Bowl MVP if we would have won that game. So certain plays he's really, really good at, and he's clutch too. But on the every down kind of receiver, you need a guy like Ricky Pearsall who can fit in that slot position and just wreak havoc underneath, and give him more options to get rid of that ball. You know, I think that honestly, I feel like he's going to be out there more often than Juwan Jennings. I think almost every down you're going to see Pearsall running around in motion in different slot positions, and just really becoming something that is a threat and a nuisance for a lot of defenses, even if they don't even throw him the ball. Just having him run around out there is just something just to distract them from both Debo, Ayuk, and Christian McCaffrey.
So Juwan Jennings played about 36% of the snaps last season. That's according to his snap count. He had 361 snaps. The 49ers ran about 1,024 plays on offense. So he's getting about 36% of the snaps. Would you be comfortable with Pearsall only getting 36% of the snaps?
I mean, as a rookie, yeah.
Okay.
Seeing as how much we saw Juwan Jennings on the field, I think that I still believe we're going to see more of Pearsall than we're going to see of Jennings. I think that's the kind of guy that Kyle Shanahan likes. Now, Kyle Shanahan had a shifty, speedy slot receiver in Atlanta. And so
Taylor Gabriel.
So when you look at Taylor Gabriel's numbers, how do those compare to what we're going to see from Ricky Pearsall? How often was he on the field? How many plays did he get on the Falcons? Because he hasn't had that since. So I'd be interested to see, how much of the offense was he involved in over with the Atlanta Falcons?
Yeah, I think that's interesting too, because you look at how the offense kind of shifted from the Falcons to the 49ers with Kyle Shanahan. Mm-hmm. It was a little bit of a shift. It wasn't, I think, as much as people would think. People think about the Falcons as a throw it around the field team when Shanahan was there with Matt Ryan winning MVP, but they actually took a huge step back in percentage of pass attempts with Shanahan with the Falcons. But a large part of when they would pass was, again, that what he could do with a guy that was shifty and speedy from that slot position. Because my concern is he's a rookie, and if you're saying he needs, if we're saying we need him to be a huge impact when it's not a 3 receiver set, so that being a base personnel set, you're having to take somebody off the field to put Pearsall out there. It's going to be Brandon Ayuk, Debo Samuel, Kyle Juszczyk, or George Kittle. That's who you're having to take one of those guys off the field to get Pearsall on. So in any way, really. So how do you balance that? What is the advantage there of a rookie there instead of being able to put Kyle Juszczyk out there on 2nd and 5, for example? Is that better for you? Does that give you more a more favorable matchup? And it's just something interesting that I think will be fun to watch during the season. And I say fun in that it'll create a lot of social media arguments.
Absolutely.
Yeah, one thing, Dan Case is pretty much on fire today. I just got to give him a special shout out in the chat. Quit Football always does a good job, but Dan is clowning. But he is asking about the cornerback battle. What do you guys think? Can we just say Rock Ya-Sin? Like, can we just say it in a cool way?
Rock Ya-Sin.
Hey, y'all have any question on who you need to rock? Y'all need to Rock Ya-Sin.
Absolutely. That's the best way to say it. I don't think Rock Ya-Sin is going to be the guy that stands out. I think Isaac Yiadom, the guy we drafted,
Renardo
Green. I think he's probably the guy they're looking at like, hey, can you solidify the spot? Ambry Thomas is probably crying in the corner saying, I could do it. But I don't think he's. If we start the year with Ambry Thomas, I would be super surprised.
Yeah, we all would be.
Eight
guys would have to get injured.
Yeah, a bunch of guys have to get injured.
See, I'll give two things here. I will tell you who I think will ascend, and then I'll tell you who I think Diamador Lenore really wants to ascend, because I don't think they're the same person. That I want Daryl Luter to really ascend this year. I think he was closer to a third or fourth round talent that was at a very small school and that's why he got drafted so late. But I love the measurables of length. You can't teach that. You can't teach a guy how to have longer arms. You just can't. You can't teach a guy how to have quick feet and speed. And that's what Daryl Luter has shown. One of the problems that we had last year was the ability to play man coverage. We were not good at it. It's just we weren't. We really struggled from a third corner position on that. But he's also got to be able to learn how to play zone. There were a lot of good things we were hearing about him coming out of OTAs and mini camps. But again, it was non-padded practices, was what I was showing earlier. So, he didn't get a training camp. He showed up at the end of the year and then was involved in the horrible muffed punt situation in the Super Bowl. But I think Diamador Lenore in the slot is a very valuable player now. Being that, I think that Diamador Lenore is hoping that Renardo Green comes in and just kills it in the slot position. That is what I'm hoping, I think Diamador Lenore wants, because Diamador Lenore wants to be paid as an outside corner. You're talking about over a second contract, about $40 million difference between a slot player and an outside corner, a quality outside corner. Mooney Ward got $13 million a year from the 49ers, and his next contract will probably be in the neighborhood of $17 or $18 million a year. K1 Williams, when he left the 49ers, and was one of the better slot guys in the league, got $5 million a year. What was the biggest reason why Jimmy Ward left and went to the Texans? Is because he wanted to be paid as a safety, not as a slot player. Yeah. Because slot players max out at $5 to $8 million a year. So when you add that up over the length of a second-term contract of what teams are paying now in difference, Diamador Lenore really wants Renardo Green to come in and just knock that, take over that slot position so he can move outside and be an outside corner. So that's where I kind of look at that battle, is I think it's between Daryl Luter and Renardo Green. And I think the best thing for the team is Daryl Luter, because I think Diamador Lenore is a fantastic slot player. I think the best thing for Diamador Lenore is for Renardo Green to be that guy.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. You look at Daryl Luter, he's got 32-inch arm span. He's got 10-inch hands. He's 6 foot, but he's got big arms. And so I think this is a guy that can really make a difference. When we saw him out there, he didn't get much of a chance to actually perform all that much. What's his name? The safety that the guy we drafted last year as a safety. What was his name? He came in at the end of the year.
Jair Brown.
Brown. I mean, the fact that he came in so late in the year and was able to perform and actually make plays, that was huge. And I think Daryl Luter could do the same thing. So yeah, I think Luter does have a huge shot, and he's in his second year, being in this defense as well, being in the NFL. So he definitely has the advantage over some of these other guys that are out there. So they have a lot of options to kind of sift through, and which is a good thing. I mean, imagine if they didn't sign these guys and they just had Daryl Luter and that was it, just be like, oh my God. So I think Luter does have a shot to break the starting lineup in terms of being an inside or a slot receiver or a slot corner.
What I just hope is, I know you said Ambry Thomas. I think Ambry Thomas, I would be fine with him as our fourth or fifth corner. I would be okay with that. Because that also means that Dante Johnson is not coming back on the team, the guy that has been on the team about 80 times over the years.
God. He always keeps coming back.
He always comes back. and he's always a liability when he's out there. It reminds me of oh, this is going to be a throwback for everybody. The scene in Waterworld when
Oh, good Lord.
My God.
when Kevin Costner
Going
appears back
Waterworld.
on
Worst movie
the
ever.
Exxon Valdez at the end. And I'm trying to remember the actor's name who played the big baddie in that movie.
Oh, Dennis Hopper?
Yes, Dennis Hopper sitting there, and he's like, "You're like the turd that won't flush."
Yeah.
That's what I've always thought about with Dante Johnson. Every time the team signs him and he comes back, I'm like, "Come on!"
Anytime we get injuries, they're like, Dante Johnson has been signed to the practice squad. Oh my God, I keep going back to the well with this guy. Like, and he's always there. He's always waiting. Like, hey, you need help? Yeah. Let me get off the couch.
Oh my gosh, so bad. So
I was watching highlights. Sorry, I was watching highlights of the Niners Rams just the other day when they had when Jimmy Garoppolo was the quarterback, and I forgot what play it was, and it was like tackle made by Dante Johnson. I was like, oh fuck, I forgot he was there. I was like, there
how
he
could
is.
you forget? Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's
the
that's
guy
crazy.
who constantly came back. It was like us in Seattle, us in Seattle, us in Seattle. He just kept going back and forth. I still don't understand why both those teams really, bought into him. I get it. He understands the zone defenses, but it was like either team would do this. Like if he was with us and we were playing Seattle, the moment somebody went down and Dante Johnson came on the field, they would put DK Metcalf on him and just throw it up every single time. I'm like, Seattle, you see that you want to do this to him. You know that this is a possibility, and you keep bringing him back. Like, what? I need somebody to explain this to me of why he just constantly stayed in the league for so long of always there and has played a lot of snaps in the NFL. I mean, he's played a lot of snaps in the NFL in reserve roles. So, yeah. As long as we don't have him on the team and we have, if Ambry Thomas is our low bar, I'm really happy going.
I'm okay with that. He's made some plays. Ambry Thomas has, yes. So we talked a lot about DBs. We talked about Luter and Rocky Sin. Speaking of sin, I want to give you guys a reminder that over here, my banner behind me is Sin. Sports Idiot Nation. Starting August 1st is a new podcast. We're going to talk everything from sports to pop culture. So it won't just be Niners. It'll be, if the Yankees get out of their slump and all of a sudden start winning games, that might be a topic of conversation. The Pittsburgh Pirates just pulled their rookie who threw 99 pitches with no hits and 11 strikeouts in the 7th inning, no hit. And what did they do? As Pittsburgh Pirates will do, they pulled him. Like, that is the most asinine thing I can think of to do to a pitcher.
I'm really hoping is that you guys talk about maybe the greatest athlete in the world that nobody's talking about.
Joey Chestnut.
Nobody's talking about.
Joey Chestnut, right?
No.
Oh, well, that's San Jose. I'm from San Jose, baby, just like Joey Chestnut.
Katie Ledecky.
Oh.
Why is nobody? I'm serious. Have you not seen? She holds like the top 15 world records for fastest 1600 meters. Like she's the female
stud.
Michael Phelps. It's ridiculous.
However,
she's doing everything. She's gonna go to the Olympics and represent the USA and win like everything there.
But
y'all better talk about Katie Ledecky. Give her props.
Sorry, Caitlin Clark is more clickbait, so we'll probably have to talk about her more. Sorry,
Caitlin Clark. Yeah, absolutely right.
No, but so this is good debate. This is the kind of banter that we'll get on Sports Idiot Nation, and I love having Andre on the show because I'm letting you know, Andre, that we are shooting later today an episode that will air later, but it's an episode.
Better
on
have Katie Ledecky on it.
No, it's the MCU. It'll be on the MCU. So Sports Idiot Nation is not always just about sports. It's whatever's
I was like, what are we talking about here?
So yeah, so it's by idiots for idiots.
I thought you were talking about Missouri Central University.
No, we're talking, and I say this to Andre because he has. He knows his comic books and stuff. And so I'm shooting an episode later today and it will air later in August. But August 1st it comes out. So be sure to follow on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the stuff, just Sports Idiot Nation. Subscribe on YouTube now, just like you're subscribing to Andre's channels and to Johnny Dell's channel. Make sure that when you go up to Niner fans that you show them your phone and show them Johnny Dell channel. show them some previous episodes that you liked. Remember, just by the way, Andre, around this time last year, we talked to Jesse Sapolu. So he had some awesome stories about Deion Sanders. That's one of my favorite episodes. So be
Nice.
sure to, when you see people wearing Niners gear, go up to people, show them your phone, pull up YouTube and say, hey, man, follow this follow this channel. Here's the Brock Purdy. That one got a ton of views. That one was really good. Brock Purdy for MVP. Also, shout out to PowerBrandSystems. You can go to PowerBrandSystems.com. They have set up the website, which is JFA49.com. Be sure to check out everything, the videos that Johnny posts, and we're making some more content as well for that channel as well. But Power Brand Systems is the one behind that. They also do John Chapman's, and we love those guys. So shout out to them. Andre, one more time, I'm gonna leave us with one more question, and then I want to give you an opportunity to let people know where they can find you. But here's the question that I want to get you out of here on. Give us a random memory that comes to mind when I ask you, I won't say what is your favorite Niner memory, because that'll take you 11 minutes to like really figure it out. So I'll say, what is a Niner memory that is one of your favorites that comes to mind, and then drop your details of where we can find you.
Oh man, I thought you were gonna say like, what was my worst memory? I'm like, oh, I got a lot of those.
No, man, we want to keep it positive. It's Friday. It's Friday in here.
The best memory, I think it was. I mean, there's a lot of them, but one that comes to mind was the game against the Saints, where Alex Smith was the quarterback, and it was a back and forth game in the playoffs, and that ended with Alex Smith
running in
dotting,
the end zone.
yeah,
and then Vernon Davis. Actually, yeah.
But he had that pass of Vernon Davis. I've never seen Alex Smith throw a harder ball in my life, like a laser, like Colin Kaepernick status. And he hit Vernon Davis. Yeah, and then earlier in the game, he did that running play where he ran in. At the time when I watched it, I lived in a different house. I had like a built-in surround sound, in the ceilings and everything. And we had friends over. We were drinking, and it was a really just a lively event, and that was a really good moment when they beat the Saints, because for a minute there I was like, oh my god, they might lose this game, but no.
I know the way we started was so hot, and then they came back.
Actually,
we did on the members website. We actually went back and rewatched that game together.
Wow.
Adam and I did, and
great plug. I was going to bring it up too. Amazing that you said that.
Yeah.
So there was that game, and then, but I just remember too another game that I watched with my friends, and it was like one of the most exciting games. There's a lot of exciting games I've seen. I when I started thinking about it, but one was Giants, Niners against the Giants, when the Niners made that huge comeback with Jeff Garcia and Terrell Owens, and they won that game.
Penalty at the end that they didn't call.
Yeah, well, they couldn't, because he was a non-eligible receiver, so it didn't matter. He could have punched him in the face and they'd been like, whatever, let's get out of here. So that was a very, very exciting game.
38-7 they came back against.
Little Jeff Garcia action.
Well,
to then and the hard part about that, so I remember that game so well, because I remember it was Michael Strahan after T.O. scored a touchdown, running up to him, because T.O. normally was known for the big end zone celebrations, and he just dropped the ball and walked back, and so it was like he was not acting like T.O., and Strahan ran up to him acting like he was dancing on their logo, ran up to him pointing at the scoreboard. And that was the moment I knew. I was like, oh, that's going to come back to him. That's going to come back to him. But then the next week, like, we were all believing it was going to happen again, because we went up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with John Gruden, and they started just beating the pants off of us. And the first time we're like, you know what? We've been through this before.
Yeah,
we
not
got
happening.
this, and we didn't at all. We just
At
got
all.
demolished by the future
Like,
Super Bowl champion Buccaneers. What was it, like 42-7, something like that?
Yeah,
I mean, it wasn't.
It
was
our ass.
just brutal.
Every time we've had an emotional comeback win, the Niners always find a way to lose the following week. I mean, Atlanta, as Callie Young says, that was a great game.
Yeah.
Every time we have a big time comeback game, they always seem to follow it with a loss. We had a big
We won't
comeback
talk
win.
about what happened in January, okay?
I know,
We won't talk
Gosh.
about being down 17 points in the NFC Championship game at halftime. We're not going to talk about that.
Trying to be in a good mood here. Again, it's Friday, guys. So, Andre, again, tell us again where we can find you.
1 second, hold on.
Whoa, your mic
yeah.
changed, dude.
Yeah,
That freaked me out. I thought it was my AC that I all of a sudden could hear. I was
here
like,
it is. Hold on. Oh no, that's not it.
oh man, he's having technical issues on that side. Like
Can
you're
you hear
coming
me
through you're coming
We
through
can hear
not
you,
your room mic or your
just-
mic
yeah.
mic anymore.
Yeah, not
He
that.
hit the wrong button, folks. He's looking for the panic button. You know, it's like when somebody's car breaks down on the freeway and you see them, you know, standing there with their hood open. It's like they're
Does that
looking for a
sound-
giant on-off
There.
switch there.
And he's-
I just need to flip
And we're
this
back.
switch.
All right, so now you
Oh,
can hear
no,
me,
it's
right?
gone again. It's gone. Wait.
You can't hear me?
No,
Okay,
I
we're
can't.
good.
We
No,
can.
we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we're good.
I smacked. I pulled on one of the. Oh shit! Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on, I know what it is.
This is amazing. Live production, folks. Live
This
production.
is how it goes, man.
Oh, dude, I love the Price is Right theme. You know, my wife gets really irritated with me because Amazon Prime Video now has the Barker
Yeah.
era on Prime Video. So, like, so you can watch. It's literally 24/7.
Well,
Bob
the
Barker
time to
era,
go.
Price is Right.
The
It's
time to
awesome.
go haywire is at the very end, I suppose.
Yeah,
but-
it's at the very end. It has to
but
be,
we can
right?
hear you.
Okay.
We can hear you. So yeah,
if
give
you
us
want
the details.
to, if you want to follow me, just go to nicotina.net. You'll find all three of my channels there, which is there goes my volume. Which is Dre Area Sports, which covers all the Niners stuff. I'm just gonna roll with this. Am I hella
you're
quiet?
good. We can hear you.
Okay. Is Dre Area Sports, and then also you'll find all three of my channels on there. Memberships are available if you want to support those channels. But just go to nicotina.net, and that's where you'll find all my content.
Love it, love it. Thanks for being on. We definitely got to have you back.
Yeah,
I
dude,
need to-
absolutely.
I need to get with you on some of my other projects, dude. To be honest, and
Yeah.
definitely
Let
got
me
to
know.
connect. So I'll hit you up. So remember, guys, we will catch you Monday, same bat time, same bat channel. There's a reach for some of you guys. And in the meantime, drink your water, stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, go Niners.